In this video, I'm going to show you how to place the door lock actuators on the front doors of this Ford F-250. Let's get started. Let's start up here by the sail panel. Remove this. If you just grab it with your hands, you should be able to pull it off. The mirror switch, you can also pull straight up. If you need a trim tool for this, use that. Avoid using anything metal though, because it'll scratch up the plastic easily. Press on this tab and disconnect it. And then the window switch over here, pull up on this. Disconnect both connectors. Set this aside. Below the door handle, you'll see this cover that you can easily pop up from below and then remove it. This exposes two 7mm headed bolts. Remove both. At the bottom of the door panel, there should be two more of the same screws, 8mm, 7mm heads, or sometimes Phillips head, but in my case, they're both missing, so there's nothing for me to remove here. At this point, you should be able to just grab the door panel, lift it straight up and out. Now peel off the vapor barrier. Mine isn't very sticky anymore, but if yours is, a lot of times this glue here will tend to rip it, so just try to peel it off gently. What we need is access to both of these openings. Next, I'm going to take a T27 Torx bit and remove the 3 bolts that hold the door latch onto the door. We'll have to move the whole assembly aside so we can actually get to the lock actuator. All the way back here, you'll see this green lock that holds the rod coming off the outer door handle. I'm going to use a pick, pop that off, try to remove that rod. This one's quite rusty in there. And then on the outer part, you'll see this yellow clip. Pop this off as well. And try to pop this rod off. This will allow us to move the latch around a little more. There we go. Leave this in here. Now this should be connected to the outer door lock. For me, it is broken and slightly bent the wrong way, so can't really do much about that. It is already disconnected. If you pull this up at the bottom, you'll see this electrical connector. This is for the actuator that we're after. It's got a tab here that you have to pry out on, and the connector should pop off. Now the actuator itself is held on with a little locking tab right back here. So we'll have to get to that in order to actually remove it. I'm going to remove this 10mm bolt holding the outer window track in place. This will allow me to push that out of the way, make space for the door latch to move a little bit further. Down here we have another electrical connector. This is for the door jar switch. Bring this out. All right, now we can work on this a little bit better. In here, you'll see a little tab that you can put a screwdriver into or a pick of some sort. This should allow you to slide this straight back like this. And there is our actuator. Take your new actuator, slide it into position. If it doesn't go in all the way, that's because this isn't lined up. There we go. That's clipped in. We'll bring this back over. Make sure that this door handle cable is routed behind this lock indicator rod. And at this point, I'm just trying to sneak this past the window track back into position. There we go. Make sure you don't pinch any wiring harnesses on the way. Once you have it in like that. Once I have it in there, I'm actually going to leave it. I'm just going to bolt up the window track so it can stop moving around. It'll be one less thing I have to push out of the way as I try to reconnect it. Start in the bolt by hand you can see where the washer was, so try to follow that. That way the window track is still lined up. Snug it up. At this point, you want to bring the latch into position. Try to get that lock rod for the exterior lock cylinder connected. Mine is missing a couple pieces, so I can't reconnect it, but I can reconnect the interior lock indicator. Slide it through this retainer. Clip it in. And once I have this in position and bolted on, we'll connect that green one up here. This one, as you can see, is adjustable. That's why it has these threads, so you want to make sure it's mounted first, then clipped in. Don't forget to plug in the two electrical connectors, one for this switch and this one for the actuator. Make sure both of them click. And now let's set the latch in position. Line up the bolt holes, have your bolts ready, and start them in. There we go, that's tight. Now reattach the rod that goes onto this green clip here. You have to line it up, press it in position, and then close the tab. There we go, this is for the door handle, so make sure that operates. Now get the vapor barrier back. Stick it back however you can. If you need to use tape, do that. Now let's get the door panel on. Pull your wiring harnesses through their openings. Up here is for the mirror switch, and down there was for the master window switch. If it falls down, make sure you grab it, otherwise it'll get pinched behind the door. And when you put the door panel on, you want to make sure that the lock indicator actually pokes through. Guide it into place just like so. Now you want to have it higher than normal. Push it up against the door and then straight down. It's got hooks all over the place. That's what's going to hook it in. If you feel a gap like this, obviously that's not hooked in. So lift it back up, push it in. There we go. Now put in your 2 screws at the bottom if you still had them. And now the 2 screws below the door handle. And don't forget about the cap. The cap has 2 hooks that go on at the top and 2 tabs that lock it in at the bottom. Plug in the window switch as well as the lock switch. Drop these down into the door, snap them in. The mirror switch up top. Make sure that this tab lines up with the hole, otherwise, well, it won't go on because it's backwards. And finally, the sail panel up here. Slide this on, and there you have it.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.